questions at each one of you individually. If you do want to jump in on each other, it's fine. Just kind of try and flag it to me or something, because it just makes it easier to edit afterwards.
Cool.
So we'll start with Sam. Sam, this is the third time you've put this particular show on. Why did you choose to write specifically about the Bali 9 story?
I grew up in Indonesia, and so I have a really great love for the place. And I have obviously gone back a lot and holidayed over there. So to me, it was quite a strange thing to think of people, one, breaking the law over there and then being imprisoned over there. And I kind of wondered what that would be like. I also felt really sorry for the families of the guys that are in the Bali 9 and themselves. They seemed like they were, didn't know what they were getting themselves in for, and they certainly committed a crime. But I think their process of trying to find redemption was really interesting to me.
You have taken on a massive responsibility to represent the stories of these young men, and the research process that was involved. A part of that process, you did go and spend time with some of the boys in the Bali prison.
Yeah.
They're doing life sentences. Can you take us back to that moment that you met the guys for the first time?
Yeah, look, that was just a kind of a life-changing experience.
Can I get you to try and include the question you answer as well? So maybe
Sure.
The first time I met the boys in prison.
Sure. Yeah, so the first time we went into Kerabakan prison and met members of the Bali 9 was, certainly a life-changing experience. Nick, the producer, and I went in, and I'd never been in a prison before ever, so I really didn't know what to expect. And we just arrived. We were there the next day, and we got a text message saying, "Would you like to come in today?" We were going to go in the next day, and we were kind of preparing for that. So yeah, going in and then going through all the security checks, and then going into this meeting room full of it'd be about 100 people in there. We were kind of on high alert, and we did kind of relax during the time we were in there, seeing the amazing programs that some of the guys are running in there with art and spirituality. So that kind of relaxed us, but it was certainly pretty tense going in there the first time.
Do you remember what you felt when you kind of saw them for the first time, saw some of the boys?
It's kind of really hard to explain how I felt when I first saw them. I was obviously really nervous, and then we ended up sitting down and just talking about really mundane kind of things. We talked about the football, talked about the weather. They'd seen some of the television stuff that I'd done and some of the boys had done in the play, so we talked about that. And it was really strange because the play's inspired by them, but I'd never met them, so we were both strangers to each other. So it was really kind of weird to be meeting someone inside a jail, and Andrew actually knew a lot of people that I knew in Sydney, so that was weird.
So how much time did you spend with some of the family members and stuff before you actually went to see the boys in Bali?
Look, we'd talk to some of their lawyers, and we'd talk to a lot of the support crew over there. One of the artists who does a lot of the programs inside the jail, Nico Vrylink, we'd been talking to him, and then we met up with some of them the night we got to Bali, and I'd been talking to some of their parents, to the Rushers, and told them that we were going over there.
Did the authorities in Bali know about your plans to produce a piece of theatre in this way based on the Bali 9 story, and were you ever shut down?
We went over there and we got all the correct cultural visas, so that we wouldn't be shut down. But we did the play over there in a kind of in our villa as just to show the people who were working inside Kerabakan, but we weren't ever producing the play over there. So if we were to do that, then we'd definitely have to talk to the right authorities, because we don't want to end up getting stuck in that prison ourselves.
Just a couple of questions about the kind of legalities involved. Do you feel, because of the nature of the case and the contention that's built around it over the last 5 or 6 years, do you feel the Australian government and the AFP did all they could to get the boys back to Australia? Yeah,
I think that's a really contentious question with what the government did and what the government didn't do at the time. And not being a lawyer, that's a really hard question for me to answer. But
having done so much research to put the piece together, you would have come across a lot of lot of these issues. So
absolutely, and I think at the time, yeah, it's really hard to know what the government did and didn't do, and I think they're trying to make up for maybe what they might not have done at the time.
How much of your research did involve working with any kind of government officials or anyone from the AFP?
Well, look, I have talked to a number of lawyers, but mainly it's very hard to get in contact with the AFP. So I came from it from a very humanist angle, in that, and the characters in our play aren't the Bali Nine; they're three fictitious characters. And what I wanted to do was to get people to realise that these are Australians in there. They're not, it's very easy to label them as drug traffickers, as bad people, and I really wanted to humanise them. And I think, so that's what I tried to do on the angle I tried to come at.
And just a final question on that. Sam, did you uncover anything that you feel we may not have heard about in the reporting of the case? Because I guess we learnt about the story here in Australia through the media, essentially, and what was being reported.
Well, I think we did. I think we uncovered an amazing thing over there in that, which is evident if you go to the Mercy campaign website. It talks about the change in Andrew and Mayu. Their change over the last couple of years has just been profound and amazing. I think they're really remorseful for their crime and certainly admitting their guilt, and are really trying to affect the lives of people inside the jail and actually people outside the jail as well with their artwork. So I think the strength that they're exuding, trying to deal with what's happening, is something that I don't think a lot of Australians have been privy to.
And obviously that's all material that comes up in the show. Yeah.
So again, it's that kind of the actors have done a great job in really trying to put what they've experienced over there in Bali into their parts.
Okay, I believe the play. I haven't seen the show yet, but I believe the play ends with the characters being shot. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, you don't see that, but yeah, they all end the play. One of them is left inside the prison cell, and then the others are no longer in the cell.
How did you discuss that kind of content of the play with the families? I imagine it would have been quite difficult because obviously Andrew and Moira are potentially facing execution.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's a really, it's a really big white elephant when we went in there, and I found that was really hard to discuss with them, and it's something that we've. And again, like we were going in as strangers, so to talk about that something as heavy as that was really a tricky subject, and it took a while for us to have that conversation, and we sort of had that conversation after we left as well. So and again, I've been having that conversation with the families and been saying, look, we'd love you to come and see the play, but these are the issues it raises.
How did the family respond to a scene like that, for example, at the end, if the boys do end up being shot?
Well, they didn't come last night, so they're still coming, and we've sent them a copy of the play. So I guess they'll read it, and we'd love them to come, but I certainly understand if they can't. But I think for us, we had to give it that ending because we're trying to get people to think about the death penalty, and so if it's not in the play and we skirt around the issue, then people aren't going to think about it.
And just generally, how involved were the families in your storytelling process?
Well, because it is a fictitious process, I mean, they were involved I did a lot of reading about them, but I didn't want to exploit what they're going through as well. I think they're going through a hell of a lot, and they're trying to, get the best outcome for their children and their friends, and so I really felt the last thing they need is a playwright knocking on their door every 5 minutes and saying, would this happen or would this happen? So I kind of did my research separate to them and have tried to include them and let them know what we're doing.
Okay, and just one final question, Sam.
Sure.
What's the kind of major takeout that you're hoping people will walk away with after seeing this piece? You put a lot of energy into it, and it's the third time you've put it up. Yep.
I really hope that people come out and are in opposition to the death penalty. I also hope that people can come out and talk about foreign laws and the dangers of breaking them. And yeah, I hope that people come out and go to the Mercy campaign website and sign that petition. So I guess that's what I want people to come out with. That's the take.
Okay, cool. we'll move to I'll leave your mic on, Sam. If you want to jump in, you can. Move to Greg and Wayne. I got it right this time.
Sure did.
Guys, you can answer this how in whatever order you want. But I'm really interested in kind of going back to that time when you actually first met the guys as well. What were you feeling the first time you met the guys? And tell us what you can about who these boys are as people outside of their tag as the Bali Nine.
Sure. Well, the morning that we walked in was the day after Sam and Nick had been to the prison, and we attended a church service inside the prison in the chapel that Andrew set up. And it was. Andrew greeted us as we walked in, and I was struck by how healthy he looked and how big and tough he was. We'd done a lot of work on this play in the past, and I always thought that they'd be a bit emaciated and a little. They obviously don't eat very well and things like that, but it was quite the contrary. They looked very healthy. And
sorry, dude, I'm gonna have to stop you.
No worries.
These guys want to get in here, so I've got to stop.